Welcome back to another episode of Zarpado, a passion podcast.
We are live from two places, from Santiago de Chile in my apartment here with my brother, live from Santa Clarita, right outside of Los Angeles, California.
That's right, baby. That's right. Valencia, what it do?
Welcome back, brother, for the double episode. We're the second featured guest on a second episode. I don't know why that was hard to word, but
Got the repeat. I got the repeat, the
yes,
rerun.
it does. And so
Yeah.
on the last episode I did a solo episode talking about time. And so to everybody who's listening, if you haven't checked that one out, it's a good one, a good motivation one. This is just going to be I talked about how I was looking forward to doing an episode with my brother where we're just gonna, me and him are just out in the freaking world right now doing things, and so we get moments like this to just come together and talk. And this one, he's just gonna share some stories about this crazy tour that he just got back from, where he's now becoming a seasoned veteran. So brother, I'm gonna hand it off to you. Give everyone a overview of what you just came back from, what number the tour was, where you went, and then we'll just kind of dive in.
The tour, it's like around 9 or 10, I think. I don't know. Kurt keeps track of that way better than I can. But yeah, I just got done with the 6-week US national tour. We were headlining, and Edema, Crazy Town, X, and Tantric was out with us. And it was a package deal. We all have the same booking agent, and labeled the New Metal Madness Tour Part 2, because we actually three of us had done this same package last year in July. So Crazy Town and Edema and us, Head PE, we did like a little 3.5 week run last year in July with this package. So this is part 2 of the package plus Tantric involved. And yeah, hell of a time, man. It was very special in a lot of ways. I grew up a fan of Edema in high school, so getting to see them again and having even more time on the road than last time to really bond, it warms my heart completely. Those guys are amazing gentlemen, and they're just growing up being the guy who was singing their hit songs that were on MTV in my headphones in the bathroom, just practicing my rock out moves like in high school, to then going and shredding up a stage with them was pretty special, man. And the fact that they're also amazing guys was just that sealed the deal. Like I see them as mentors, friends, all the things. Like they're all good dudes.
Yeah.
And then Tantric as well, man. Those every one of those guys. I had never even listened to them personally, but they have amazing music. Their style is more just like straight up rock and really cool. But the guys are just all sweethearts and amazing players too. Like all those guys in that band too. They're closer to my age, so we kind of broke down like we've been hanging forever. Yeah. So it was really cool.
Friends and coworkers, man. Literally, you're at the point where all these bands that you're out there touring with, it's like these are the coworkers that we're just, water cooler talking, but it's in a new city every day and it's playing fucking rock shows, and it's awesome.
Yeah, man. We all share the same office every day. That's for sure. We just have different ways of getting there every day. So it's pretty fun, man. But yeah, it was a blast. It was 6 weeks, a lot of hard work, grindy at times, but that's the game, baby. You got to make that money. You got to put your name out there. You got to just go.
So how does it feel now as you're, 10 tours in with Head PE? It's like, you're the guitarist and you're going out and you're just crushing the shows as a band does. Like, how does that feel now to be, going through the motions?
I think this time was the first time where I was able to kind of master some of my anxieties I'd have, just because it was the anxiety of wanting to do well. Yeah. It wasn't like I was like afraid to play or any of that stuff. Any of my anxiety would come from I'm trying to represent the band well and earn my place and solidify it and whatever. It's like it's just all those things that go in the back of my head. This tour was probably the first American tour where I was like, this is my shit, dog. Like this is This is me.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, I'd owned it before, but really this time, especially having done Australia and Europe just a few months before this,
Mhm.
was huge in just confidence, knowing I can just show up anywhere across the world and we get it done because the guys I roll with are all professional and killers. So it's like this was the I can clearly say this was the one where yeah, it felt like I was like above my anxieties. Like I was like, okay, cool, I got this. Like I'd get nervous just because of the moment of
Of
or
course,
excited,
because it's
excited.
caring. Yeah.
Yeah, because I still want to do a good job. But really, once you just hit the first note, you're like, man, I know these songs, baby. We hitting it, and it was cool, man. It was fun. And when you have that type of mindset, it definitely shows on stage too. So you want to get everybody involved and just do all that. You got to take your own head out of it. So yeah, this was the first time it felt like that. So it was fun.
Yeah. What do you remember? What do you remember feeling like that, or like when? Like what happened specifically that allowed you to know, like, motherfucker, I got this.
uh it's funny. It definitely, I mean, I went into the tour with that feeling, to be honest. If you want to really be, it happened back in Europe when I really was like, oh yeah, this is my shit. But that mindset carried into this one. It's like, okay, this was the first US tour. So of course there was some trepidation, not trepidation, but just like, okay, cool. Make sure everything goes right. Remember my routines. Like now that I have the bus back, I'm like, where does my stuff go? Like all the routine stuff. So really, like from the jump, like our first two shows on the run, uh, actually, yeah, first two because we played Flagstaff. Uh, the first two were just us. It wasn't even with the package, so it's kind of like we had just booked those shows on top of it. And there was a couple shows throughout this run that were just head PE playing, not the package,
Mhm.
just to keep consistently working throughout the week.
Yeah.
um, and so like those first two ones was where you just okay, my gear works, everything's good, now we're rolling. And then the third show for us was actually the first show of the package. So that's when Adema and everybody showed up. And so that's when I was like, all right, I can't wait to show them this version of Nate. Because last year I had a lot of anxieties and there was like just I was still settling in and knowing how to find my rhythm a little bit more. I did it, but it was like it felt like that was part of the process for me on that last tour. So for them to see me now, it's like I wanted them to see an upgraded version of me,
Yeah.
uh, including like I brought a better amp head out, like so my tone was just exactly how I wanted it this time, and it was everything from like that type of stuff. It's like if you're confident in what you have and what both here and gear wise,
Yeah.
then the rest sells itself. You just got to be you. And so
Yeah.
really my focus was like I really want to get to know these other bands more. Like I was honestly a little bit I was just as concerned about killing the shows as I was like I want to know these guys. Like what's up with the demo? Like I got to know them last tour, but they seemed really cool, so let's just keep hanging with them. And then
Yeah.
the bonus was tantric. So
That's
yeah,
so
so like the main focus was just like I just show up and be happy every day. That's
yeah.
just who I am.
That's what you do. That's add that to your job description. Well, what's so cool is like that it's like one of the things that you were talking about is for the longest time, and it's a complete natural thing. You have that wanting to represent the band good. It's like I came in here as the new guitarist, I am who I am. And of course you'll have those moments of like, okay, I gotta make sure I prove that I belong. But once you get over
Correct.
that, it's like you just want to show them kind of yourself apart from things. It's like, let me go introduce myself as an individual. And I think that's so important for people to realize that whatever it is, it doesn't have to be just touring, doing music. It's whatever it is. When you're given an opportunity to show something, it's like, why not just keep it simple and just show people yourself,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
if
man.
you're part of
It's
something, that'll do the work that you're looking to accomplish.
Yep. Whether we're at the O2 Arena in London or we're at Avenue or whatever, what's the name of that place in Shawnee, Oklahoma, like some small bar show. whoever's there is there for the same reasons. We all love music. We all love live music, and some of us are on stage. Some of us are there to just enjoy it as a spectator. But I really I really do enjoy the time I get to, like, when I step off stage after the show, because it's when I'm feeling the most like, all right, I did it tonight. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we did it. Um, and that's when I'm glad, because that's when I get to interact with the fans right after, and they're catching me in my most happiest, one of my most happy modes, where I'm
yeah,
just like elated and just like, yeah. So it allows me to just be even more myself, where I'm just like, I'm just about love. And when you catch me in that moment, I just love everything and everyone. And it's like, tell me your story. I want to hear it.
yeah.
Um, because people have such great stories to share of why they're fans of the band or what connects them to the music, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. So definitely that whole thing is a big part of it.
So where did the tour start? Where did you guys start?
We started and ended in Cali.
Okay.
Uh yeah, I'm just looking at the lineup. It's funny that I'm looking at the tour lineup. There's a couple shows that got changed on here. But yeah, we started at the Whiskey, which was cool. Always whenever Head PE rolls through, it's cool that we play the Whiskey, because
Yeah.
I spent my college years, as it were, in Hollywood,
People
so
who
it's
don't
like
know, it is literally it is a world famous location for bands to play. And we just watched Tony and I just watched the Dirt on Netflix, Motley Crue.
yeah, Red
And it
Hood, yeah,
starts off, Whiskey a Go Go. And right there,
yeah,
and it just literally was like Nathan has played there so many times. And I
yeah,
told her, and she was like, "What? Like really?" And it was just so cool to be able to be like, "Yeah, what do you think?" Like, yeah.
yeah. That yeah. That's like, dude, it's truly. I've gotten to play some amazing venues, and especially ones that have rock history attached to them. And it's just it adds another layer of cool to the whole thing. Of, you're like, when you could feel their power from eons before, when I got to step on the stage, whatever, it's like
Yeah.
you could feel that energy, that vibe is still there. It's really cool. So yeah, we started in Cali, and it was fun, man. We always have a good time at the Whiskey. They take great care of us, and they respect what we do, and we throw it down for them. They have great sound, and we rip it.
Yeah.
So
So from your perspective of, I mean, you've been in this world for a long time, and knowing places like as you briefly mentioned, you'll have venues that have this rock history. Like, what was the thing that you knew about Whiskey A Go Go going into it? Like, was it a band that you love played there? Like something happened? Like
yeah.
your personal, like, what was the thing that you're like, holy shit, I'm here because so and so is here. Like that's so cool to be like. What was yours? What was your
So
realization of that?
the Whiskey A Go Go is located on the Sunset Strip. That area, it's like West Hollywood, or right before, in between normal Hollywood and West Hollywood, or,
Yeah,
or Hollywood proper and West Hollywood. And it's known for its rock history, because in the '80s, a lot of bands, the hair metal bands at the time, were playing. That's within that area. There's about 8 or 9 or 10, like, concentrated venues that were pumping out bands like Guns N' Roses, Motley
yeah,
Crue, like all of those type of, like, Whitesnake, any famous rock band from the back in the day played the Whiskey Go Go and the
yeah,
Viper Room and the Troubadour and all those places that are all near there. So when you get your foot in the door and you get to play one of those iconic places, I'm grateful to have played most of them, not all of them, but most of them
yeah,
in that area. Uh, Varying degrees of different acts, whatever. But like every time you're there, it's almost like it's cool, as long as you're doing it from an established band standpoint,
hmm
they treat you okay. If you're going as like an original artist that is not like as known at the time or whatever, then they have a different attitude towards you. It's the business side of things, and they in a sense, the Sunset Strip is like Disneyland for rock historians, like back in the day, because it's like you get charged a whole buttload more than you should for a lot of different things, like drinks and parking and all that stuff. But you go there because there's some history there.
yeah.
It's
Some of your rock idols were there getting overcharged too, or
yeah, exactly,
being there.
yeah. They're the reason why that we get overcharged today,
Exactly.
because of
Yeah.
all their cool antics.
Yeah.
We pay them.
Yeah. How
Yeah,
ironic.
yeah, but yeah, we're talking like Zeppelin used to play down. Like everybody used to play in those areas. So yeah, and that's kind of like when I moved to Hollywood. that's one of the reasons why is because there's music history there. And
Yeah.
so it's like that's why I knew I had to come because it's an industry spot. So definitely the Whiskey a Go Go. It's when yeah, Head B rocks that shit. So it's fun.
Yeah. And so the shows throughout California, how were there any memorable moments from any of those?
Oh yeah. We ended at the Garden Amphitheater in Garden Grove. It's like an outdoor venue, but like set up the venue set up with like theater style seating, almost like if you're at a like a Water World stunt show at
Is that
Universal
where we're
Studios.
gonna go see you in on the 19th, Garden Grove?
No, no. That's in Sac. Yeah, Old Ironsides
Oh, okay,
is
cool,
what we're
cool,
playing.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, in Sac. This is Garden Grove is Orange County, so it's Southern
Oh,
California.
okay, cool. Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought it was like,
amazing venue. But what made it even cooler was Danielle came with me. My girl was with me. She because the show before was in Fresno area, so that's where she met me after this whole 6 week tour. It was amazing. Got to see her, all that stuff. And her and I drove. It's like 4 hours from there to Garden Grove, so we just tripped it down the next day. And so I brought my girl, and then turns out most everybody else that had girls. I mean, Adima's from Bakersfield, so they had all their families come out basically.
yeah,
Tantric is from the East Coast, so they didn't have their families out. But it was like it had Jared's wife flew out too. Lindsay flew out, so
yeah,
she was
yeah,
there. Danielle and her got to meet, and it was really cool, man. If the show was great because it was the last show, but the sound was awesome. We ripped it in half, and then not on top of that, it felt like a family affair. Like we
yeah,
all had like we all it like had that like crew feeling. Like you're
yeah.
like that's your lady and that's your kid. Oh, what's up, man? Like it was really awesome. Like I can't. It was really magical. Like Danielle and I both had the same feeling after when we left. We're like that was magical. Like I know it's a
Yeah, yeah.
cliche phrase, but like if you could feel like that. What is happening? This feels so cool. So it
Yeah.
was a beautiful day, beautiful weather. Like you couldn't have asked for a better closeout to the tour. So that was magical for sure.
That's,
Garden Amp, baby.
I mean, it's so cool because your goal for the tour was to really get to know the people that you were going to be there with. And there's certain, like, I always come back to this. One of the most recurring thoughts that I have is like different dynamics with people and how you get to know people in different scenarios better than you would if it were just, you know, the two of you guys being there and speaking. You know, you could different stories, different things. Like you have people have their family members. It's like, oh, how'd you guys meet? Boom, that takes you back to a now you get to know about these people that you're with. Like, oh, I didn't know you were there. Like, it's just so cool that that was your goal, and there's no better way to achieve it than being around the people that share life with those people that you're trying to get to know. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It really sealed the
the
whole
full
thing down. Like,
circle moment type thing. You know,
there
especially
you go.
the tour, like Zarpado, Zarpado.
Zarpado, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Truly, you hit the nail on the head, man. We bonded. You know, touring itself, the grind just brings out your own natural personality anyway.
Mhm.
Uh, so we got to know each other as touring musicians, and then it's then like you said to seal it all when we get home. It's like you get to see the lead singer of Edema had his baby was born midway through the tour, so he flew out to go be there for the birth, came back and killed the rest of the tour. But like I didn't get to see the new baby, but like his wife was or his baby mama was there, like so they were sharing baby pictures with me and Danielle, and we were just like sharing pictures of the dog and the cat, like it's just like it was that was the really like the stealing of the deal of like, oh man, this y'all familia for life, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The tantric too, like I said, tantric they're the same way. We're all brothers. So the three of us, the three bands really broed down hard on this one.
You know, speaking to get quickly off topic, but guess who was born on May 14th, I want to say?
Who?
Lalo's second baby.
Oh, shit, that's close to Dad's birthday
Yeah, that's
and your
close.
birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
scheduled for my day, and she was in labor for like the whole time, and so I was hoping I was like, please God, let the baby be on my birthday.
On your birthday, that would have been
Yeah, that
lit.
would be. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't have anything to do. I just know you know and love Lalo, and just crazy to think about. I mean, his second
You got
son, man,
you got
like
two now.
two.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
tight. That's tight.
Yeah.
That's
Time,
cool.
time really, and I'm sure you probably had people that you knew through this life as you were touring, right? Like friends that came to visit and time that went by. Did you have anything like that to where you just kind of see how much time changes things like on that tour, whether it be with like from people you met or friends
Oh
that
yeah.
passing through cities and it was like, oh hey, Nate, you're playing in Austin? Like I live here now. Like let me come see. Do you have anything like that? Or have you had moments like that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All the time. Uh, I've made a lot of good connections too from my work at like Overwatch and stuff like that. So I've had like random various people that were on that crew that had relocated or scattered to the wind after that show, after our roles in that show ended. Uh, that sometimes they'll just hit me up, or sometimes they'll just come out and surprise me. Like I've had like Iowa City, I had a homie Keith who came out. That was my first tour. We were playing in Iowa City, and literally I'm just standing at the merch table, just getting ready to play, and then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, "Hey, that's Keith. That's Keith." And he's like walking up, like, "Do we get the biggest hug in?" And it's just like it's so cool. Like that happens more and more and more the more you get out there and meet people. So there's and that's including like really good fans. Like in the Illinois area, we have a lot of good. I've made a lot of good friends. There's Adam Umeki, who's I met him through trauma, total like, but he's been a fan and friend of the band for a long time.
Yeah.
So wherever we're near the Chicago area, he'll drop off a big thing. Portillo's is like their big in Chicago. It's a very well known like sandwich, burger, hot dog spot. Like they
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
good meat. So he puts like 2 trays of like hot dogs from Portillo's up there, some meatballs, like bam, got us a handle of vodka, like weed, whatever, like just there you go, guys. And but he's just a really genuinely good person too. Like him and I
Yeah.
just talked about life and stuff like that. He's always cool. And then in that same area, there's another friend, Jenna Cyber, who just brought her 2 daughters out to the show for the first time, and she's been like a long time Head fan. And the girls have grown up listening to Head PD,
That's
so
so awesome.
they got to see their first show, and she's an awesome lady. Like I like totally love her. I'm glad she shared her family with us, and I had some good conversations with her in the past too, to where it's like I'm like, look, Jenna, you never have to pay to come see us again. You're a friend, okay? You're
Yeah.
you're a homie. Like it's the same with Adam Umieki. He knows he's on the guest list, but it's like you make these connections, and like I said, we all love the same thing. So it's like
Yeah.
just come out and hang out. Like it's just about seeing people that you know, and it makes the time go by faster, honestly. When you're in an area where you know somebody, because then that's just like, hey, I'm gonna hang with this person today. That's gonna be fun.
Well, I just remember being there, like to kind of touch in on what it's like to be, the family of having a brother that tours. I just remember when I got to bring my boys and we got to see you, whether that was Conscious Outlaws, but more specifically, I'm talking about when we saw that Head PE show with me,
Yeah, in San
Taryn,
Diego.
Ginny, and Nick, and yeah, and
SLH, yeah.
Soma, yeah, and
Mhm.
uh, just to be able to just stand back there, and you guys had that person serving up tacos, and we just got to stand there and you just be like, hey, this is my little brother, and
Yeah,
then
dude.
and I
Yeah, because
just
I
be
just want to
there.
introduce you to Dropout Kings.
Yeah, yeah, those guys were
No.
awesome, just standing there talking to all of them, and then even at times it would just be me talking to my friends who I'm like, I know these idiots, but like we're still here behind the venue, where all the campers are, where the dressing rooms, all that stuff. Like, I don't know, it's a cool feeling, man. And so I can imagine to be able to give that to the people that you meet and that, continue to come out to the support and whether it doesn't matter where you're at, it's like, oh, Head PE's rolling through, like Nathan's rolling through, like I'm gonna go see him, give him a hug, and then
Yeah,
boom, it's special for both people.
yeah. Or hey, I'm coming through. This is my daughter's first show. That
Yeah,
stuff is
yeah,
so cool to me. Where it's like they've been longtime fans, and the next thing you know, they're bringing up the next generation of fans for of music, of live music. Again, not even just for us, but for girls, young kids that still value live music. It seems, I don't know. I feel archaic saying this, but it seems like I don't see that as much from the youth these days. Or if it is live music, then it's got to be a big ass festival with with crazy amount. Like, you know, it's a bigger deal than just
It
going
is.
to a
It
club
is.
show
Yeah.
or like a just go to a rock show. It's $10. Go rock out. Like, you know, grab a beer and go mosh with your friends and just feel that energy instead of you don't need to you know, I grew up going to festivals too, but they weren't nearly at this level that they are now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool, man. I Each tour you feel that way more too is like the usuals. And then, you know, there's even our brother D who lives in Denver right now.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in Phoenix. He came out to see me at Denver. Great to see him, man. Gave him a lot of love and just, you know, the hug from D, you know, it's just like a blast of warm sunshine, so it
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So in Utah, we saw the Andrew W. Boss crew. We actually played. They were opening up for us there, and they've toured with us before. And they were uh, yeah, it was like they've toured with us before, so they're like brothers as well. But
Yeah.
just to randomly come across them at this spot in Salt Lake, we're like, hey, dude, and we're playing a show together. Let's bro down. Like, how are you? They were just on their way to start another tour, so and it was you just kind of we just kind of rotate through this life and where you see people. Texas, I got a shit ton of people I know in Dallas and all those places. There's a Saris family that takes every time I'm around, they'll offer to take me out to dinner, or they always bring like two giant bags of just goodies, whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
we're talking sweets, whatever. It's just like people just share their love with us, and they're really cool. So
Well, it's so cool because it's like people see you, they're like, and a lot of it has to do with the circumstances. It's like they see, they're like, look at Nathan, like touring the world, touring the country, like, and so there people just get so happy when they see you doing what you're passionate about that they just want to find a way to kind of light the fire a little more and keep, light the torch and then keep it going, give some more, whether that be like you, one thing I always remember is your mom just like making all those enchiladas for you and the band. And
yeah,
then Sean being like, these enchiladas, man.
I'm
Like,
on the loves them, dude. He wants green sauce with steak ones, but yeah, he loves them shits.
that is so funny. Like, it's just little
We all
things
do,
like
man.
that.
I love that shit. Like everybody, we got mad love for it's and this one specifically again because I've been through so much with the band already. It's like, you know, with Danielle's dad passing right before tour,
Mhm.
you know, rest in peace, Al. He's a great man. You know, that whole thing happened, and I just kind of side mentioned it to Jared. But then when Danielle and I met up with the band in Flagstaff for the second show, you know, they all gave her like a big hug and like we're there. Like it's like you don't have to do that, but the fact
Yeah.
that we all treat this as like, yeah, we're out here as professionals, but we also got each other's backs. Like
Yeah.
it's huge, man. And so yeah, you gotta share love with everybody. If anything, that's kind of what I've discovered. The One of the main purposes of what I'm out here for is to just share love with people, man.
Yeah.
And whether it's my love for music or my love for you or my love for whatever, like even if I'm just sitting there watching a basketball game, like come watch sports with me, just hang out. Like we're good. Like
Yeah.
it's just life's too short to be unhappy in this mode.
Well, because you can even take it back a step, taking ourselves out of it and being like, you could be doing anything. You could, you're touring, you're playing shows, and there's a little more energy and stuff to that. But you could be running trade shows at accounting conferences and coming in bumping elbows with people that you met. And it's like if you take that mindset of just wanting to go out and sharing the love of doing that, it's like that makes it worth it. It gives you purpose, like you said, to what the things that you do. And that's
Yeah,
a hell of a thing.
yeah, exactly. Because what I've discovered is you can get trapped up real easily in like, okay, I got to be this for my career. I got to like, your career goals are one thing, but if that's all it really is for you, then I feel like it's going to be kind of empty when you achieve these things. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's like to achieve that thing, but then also along the way to have made these lifelong connections that just like seriously, you can't replace that feeling in your heart when you think of a good homie or a family member or something like that or somebody that has made a good impression in your life. So if you have a chance to do that, I'd say that's the higher calling of the whole thing is just
Yeah.
to share that love because it's we all love this and I love this and I appreciate that people love that we do it. So it's a big old love fest, you know.
So how's the music now to dive a little more into the whole tour of it. When you're now, I mean, 10 tours in, you said you know the music. How does it feel now playing it? Like, what's it like? Do you
Oh,
always do the
awesome.
same exact thing, or is it like kind of like what's it like?
uh, we try to do the same exact thing, but varying things happen, and because we're a band that's old school and doesn't play to a track, that allows us. Oh, if some gears messing up or string breaks or what, real quick, we as musicians can. It's called like stretching it out. Just kind of just jam on a part and hang there for a second until we all come back in or do the right thing. Um, uh, so yeah, it's enough to feel automatic, but the cool thing, and definitely one of the things I've had to adjust to the most about being in this band is Jared likes to tinker.
Yeah,
He'll like very rarely ever finish a tour with the same exact order of set lists
yeah,
as we started with, and then even within that, he'll have like an inkling to want to change how a part sounds or how we play something or whatever, and we work that out at sound check. And it's cool because it keeps our musical chops up, like in terms of just okay, thinking on the fly, like, can we try that, let's try this, like let's try and arrange this differently, or let's flip this around or extend this part more. We
mhm.
did that a lot in Europe was like, I think, the most amount of inset tweaks that we've ever done. Even Kurt said so.
Really?
um yeah, it was. Yeah,
What does that
I had
mean
to
by
get.
inset tweaks? Like, give an example, because for anybody, like, I don't really understand it that much, but
Okay, so an easy example, there's a song we play called Raise Hell, where if you think it's too loud, bitch, shut the fuck. Yeah, that's the call
yeah,
and
yeah,
response one that we have. For the longest time I've been in the band, we were playing. I was playing the riff a certain way. He wanted that higher an octave, so I changed that up. Uh, and then he wanted to add the second verse that's there, which means we would tag on an extended middle. And we changed the arrangement of basically how we play that song, period. But just kind of worked it into that.
yeah,
And I was in Europe, and that was fun because it was a lot to remember, but it was cool. Like literally, like we were, me and Kurt were just scribbling on our set list at a certain point because we were doing that to almost every song on the set at one point, where it's like every song had like a new thing that we were gonna try with it.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, hell, we even bust out a new song that we hadn't even played ever in my tenure, which isn't
yeah,
long, but still, like, but it's one that the guys already knew, but they're just like, here, learn this real quick. We're gonna play this tonight. Like, okay. So I just searched on some videos, try that, and then we just tried it. And then the beauty of touring is you get multiple chances to just keep getting it better.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I'm sorry, I might have strayed away from your question, but
No,
basically
no,
the
not at
the
all.
the, the tweaking of everything really is the interesting part. So for me, it there's parts of it where like, man, I wish I could just settle into a rhythm and just like these songs could just be automatic.
Yeah,
I just get up and play the same shit for 6 weeks. It's gonna sound great, but whatever. But I like the fact that Jared has ambition, that he wants to keep trying new shit with his members. So it's cool because it's like, all right, cool, we're trying something new tonight. Just kind of get
yeah.
ready. It is what it is. You just gotta send it and
But
just do it.
and I really hope a lot of people who like Head PE listen to this and hear about the creative process, because I remember when I watched I got really into the Grateful Dead over the past few years. And one of the
Mhm.
things that really interested me about when I watched like some documentaries or some footage of things was the whole introduction of how they would tape the shows, because then these tapes, they made it legal because they're like, hey, it keeps people coming back. They can just People would come in as the Grateful Dead went through the 90s and then earlier 2000s, the gear got better for recording, and they then went and took it as far as to interview people like, why do you record these? And they're like, well, first of all, they let us. Second of all, it's always different.
Yep. I
And
was just gonna
so
say that.
because it's always different, not to have this and then to be able to remember, like, oh, do you remember how they played this version of that song at this date at this venue? I wonder what it's going to be like. They're out on tour in 6 months. It's like, I got to get tickets to go to see how it's going to be different than it was when I saw it. And for people to
Yeah.
know that this is what Jared does, like, they're gonna be buying tickets to the next one's coming and traveling and seeing that, because it's like, holy shit, I might not have known that, you know?
Yeah, whether it's a new song totally, or whether it's just tweaks to a song that they've heard us play millions of times. It's Jared's aware of keeping it fresh, you know. I mean, if anything, just for us, I don't know. It's like it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that I would feel to keep doing it over and over again, because I've never felt that in this band. But I know in the past, it's like with the Samoans, yeah, it just gets repetitive, but it's fine because that allows you to completely just check out and just the shows are automatic at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas with this stuff, it's like, no, it's not automatic. You got to still do your job, you know,
Yeah.
lock in a little bit more. But yeah,
To some degree, that's great, you know, to have a little bit of both. I remember like some of the rappers I've seen, you know, and when I was really into that, it's like, oh, cool, I saw him last year. I'm so cool they're at this festival again. Oh wow, that was a year ago, and it's the same set, same
mhm,
song.
yeah,
Like, I'm gonna go see someone I haven't seen, you know?
yeah,
So it
yeah,
allows it's very good for the fans too.
yeah, yeah. And our fans also know the deal. It's like we're playing shit from 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
they come to hear a lot of the same stuff anyway. You know, that's kind of the vibe of it. But because Jared is writing new music and doing new shit, it's like we're always gonna have at least something new to throw in there at some point.
Mhm.
Like so that's why we throw in like Respect the Republic. That was off of the Sandmine EP, which came out my first tour. So
That was a
and
huge
since then
add.
we played what's that?
I was saying that I imagine that's got to be a huge add to it because it's such a powerful live song to see, you
We
know?
did. We get it. Yeah, we actually didn't play it on this run as much. We stopped playing it about a couple shows in because just we tweaked the set to feel better.
Yeah.
But it's one of those songs we all love playing. But
Yeah.
it was time, like a year and a half,
Yeah.
always starting the set with that. We had to switch it up again. So and then finding another place for it kind of didn't. I don't know. It was a Jared's the master of the set list, so it's like he
Yeah.
he felt it out. And,
It's a living thing.
yeah, it is. It is. It's truly a living, organic, breathing thing. And what we realized by rolling with other bands, not to, I'm not talking shit on bands that do this, but to me, rolling with tracks can work two ways. It enhances your sound because you get sound that you can't necessarily produce. It should be used that way. I'll say that much. To produce live, like certain ambient sounds that you just can't play. They're just on the record, so it's gonna draw familiarity to the song. But it also kind of locks you into the form. Like you're playing it that way because that's the way the track is every night. So it's interesting. And that's good for a lot of bands that can do that. Like Edema is a great band that does that. Edema uses tracks and you get the same shit because it's the songs people want to hear that way. So it's for a reason. So they do it well. There's just other bands I've seen where, sometimes the tracks do a little too much. Like they're taking over lead vocal parts, or they're doing it where it's like you didn't want to sing, you can't keep
Yeah.
your voice up. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Like it's weird. So it can be used one or two ways, but so
Well, it's
that's
cool.
what makes it organic. It's fun. Like we are a living, breathing thing. Like even in the moment, Jared will be like, lay out real quick, and I'll be like, okay, stop playing. Band's still grooving, and he wants that sound to sonically just be a bass and drum groove for a second.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, come in now. Ba-ba. Like almost like how James Brown used to orchestrate on the fly too.
Yeah.
He was like
And
all the
so
time.
all of these are orchestrated with like hand gestures, right?
Yeah, we do. It's hand signals, but also eye contact as well. Like it's like a sport, man. Like you're
Yeah.
just I liken it a lot to like basketball. Like you
Mhm.
gotta. It's a lot of like, okay, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And we're there. Thankfully, we do it musically, so it's like we have to see the same things.
Yeah.
But but it's the same thing. Like if something gets off real quick or something, you got to look for the nearest person that can. And thankfully, I'm with three other very experienced musicians that know how to do it. Trauma's great at getting me back on track. Kurt can. We generally look for Trauma because like if we follow in with whatever the drums are doing, then we go okay, and now we're back in.
How do you do that? Like like when you're off, how do you get back on without stopping completely? Like what that's so crazy to me to think about. I'm such a bad multitasker, so I'm like, how do I even think about that at the same time?
It's part of the musicality skill that you develop just by learning over time. It's like, okay, whatever happened has happened. Now we got to figure out how to get on. So you just stay in place basically. Like you just stay playing the same thing. You just start looping the same shit until everyone's like, okay, and now we're going to the next part together.
Yeah.
You find out it's if you stop dead in the water, terrible move.
Yeah.
You have to keep playing, but also that's not always true, because sometimes if you're totally lost, just lay out completely. Worst, coolest thing it sounds like is a drum and bass interlude.
Yeah.
You find out where everything's at, and then you're like, okay, cool, bam, bam, bam. So there's different ways to do it. It just depends on the situation, man. Like, and you just develop that over time, like knowing where you're at, knowing what the part is, and then, okay, hang on, we're supposed to be here, but we're gonna do this. Like you just kind of
Yeah.
you part of the symbiosis of like a shared mindset between the
Yeah.
between the guys is we can all do that. And that's I think that's what separates some musicians from other musicians is their ability to really cover mistakes. And that's what I was taught in school was how you cover mistakes is kind of a pretty big test on who you are as a musician. So
Mhm.
you try to you try to hide them as much as you can. Sometimes you can't because a biff's a biff.
Of course.
But and that's part of the live music experience. But you aim for 100% perfection, and you usually end up getting about 99.2
Yeah.
most of the time. But every once in a while, there's something. But in my experience, but yeah, so yeah, that's how we do that. We just it's we're up there, we're having fun, but we don't check out. Like
Mhm.
that's part of it. We're like, all right, cool. You seeing the same shit, all right, and boom, you hit it. So
That's so cool, man. I can't wait to like see you in, dude, because it's gonna be in a month, a little more than a month. We'll see you playing in Sacramento, and
yeah, baby.
I'll be looking for these moments, like just seeing like, oh, it's like, oh, Nathan was off. No, no, no. But
But
like,
you might catch it a little bit more just in case that'll be our first show back. So I mean, we'll have rehearsed a little bit during sound check, but I mean, we all rehearse at home basically. We
of
get
course,
ready on our own. Uh, but it's sometimes the first show is I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, we're there. Okay, cool,
boom.
that's how this
Oh, I know
goes.
these guys. Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So yeah,
where's this next tour? Is it another new Metal Madness tour or?
no, this one's just us headlining with some other friends of ours. There's a band called Heat and Sun that's rolling out with us, and then I'm not sure of any other ones that are booked yet. That Trauma usually handles a lot of like the bands that want to hang out with us when we're headlining just our solo tours.
Really?
Um, but yeah, it's gonna be 6 weeks in the hottest time of the year in the hottest places of the country. So
Where are you
not
going?
really. We're doing it's another full U.S. run, so we're starting on the West Coast and then heading out to the East Coast. But like I said, August in Florida, not gonna be that cool.
Literally.
It's gonna be fun. The shows are great. We always have a good time. And Texas and like all the South, like we're gonna be in New Orleans, all that shit. It's just hot as fuck when we do that shit. Like it's so hot. So just do, and I'm learning little things to mitigate that. You got a little ice pack that you fall asleep with, or you got your little I'm gonna get like a construction air mover, like one of those big, huge just fans that just blows air. Put that right by me every night, so I'll be negating some of that hopefully. But it's
Really?
just
Do you
yeah.
have room to do that, like on the bus, like to just get a big, huge fan to have near you, or?
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I got little fans for the bus in my bunk. I'm talking about for stage, like
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, because the air mover is going to be right next to my pedals, basically on stage, so I'll be able to just feel that air just right at me.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, for on the bunk, I have like a little 4-inch mini USB fan. Plug
Uh-huh.
that into an external power supply, and just let it rip all night, and that's enough to just if air is moving in my bunk directly on me,
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not the most comfortable time. But hey,
Yeah.
someone's got to get this rock too, baby.
That was where you didn't have that stuff to prepare for that first tour, huh? Like,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Both Jennies broke. We were fucked. The whole. Oh my god, dude! It was no AC. I didn't know how to. I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't know what I was
yeah,
walking into. Yada yada. Yeah, it was quite the learning experience. It was a very sweaty first tour, but
yeah.
and every tour in the summer since then has been sweaty. It's the nature of the game. I
Yeah.
sweat a lot in general, so you just go play a show on top of it. You're like, well, all right, just got to wipe down my guitar a little extra after each show.
Yeah. So what do you notice with the turnout with like these tours in winter versus tours in summer, are they generally bigger in summer because people have either more time or like ability to go out, or do you think in the winter you have better turnout?
I haven't actually noticed a seasonal difference, to be honest. Uh, it's mainly how the show's promoted
Hmm.
that causes the difference in that, is what I'm finding. Like we'll get some promoter, like everybody, like the way the game works is our booking agent goes and sends out all these inquiries. Hey, look, we're trying to put together this tour and we're passing through your town. Do you want to book us? If the buyer says yes, then they book us. And then it's up to the promoters. We can help to a certain degree, but as the national touring act, it's like we just tell people we're on the tour. Here's the dates, like and we can boost certain posts as well, like on social media and stuff like that. But really, the promotion comes down to the promoters because they're in charge of covering the guarantee for us. So it's on them to get as many people there as possible because that just will cover what they owe us when we walk through the door.
Yeah.
And especially with another package like this, it's like you got uh, you know three other big bands that you got to pay.
Hmm.
Uh, which, by the way, we haven't talked about the Crazy Town drama yet, which was fun,
Yeah.
of the
Hey,
last tour.
I wanted to
Uh,
ask, but I didn't know like what to ask, so I'll just let you kind of share what you want to about it.
yeah. So yeah, to close the other question, I don't know about the draw for seasonals, but it just depends on time and place and how long it's been since we've been there and how well the show's promoted. There's varying factors that play into that, where it is, all that shit. Like that all affects the draw in different ways. It could just be also if there's another bigger show in town that'll take some draw away from us. So or at places where we usually have success, sometimes could be a lighter night because it's like, oh, there's a similar band but bigger than us playing
Yeah.
just up the street or something like that. There goes our draw. But
Coldplay in town.
yeah, we compete with those
Still,
bastards
all
all
the
the time,
head
man.
the head PE
Man,
fans are like, sorry, head. There's Coldplay.
yeah, they'd rather listen to Yellow than Raise Hell. Uh, I don't blame them.
Trade in their black clothes for the rainbow clothes.
Yeah, shit. I think I feel all melancholy and gray when I think of Coldplay. Are they all rainbowy now? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, I think, yeah. I mean, they just have an amazing light show now for them. So it's like, I mean, they're crazy, man. Like, especially here in South America, like
They got all that. They got that Grammy money.
you walking down the street in like residential neighborhoods, like through windows, you hear like just a chord of different Coldplay songs coming together, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like they had fans
Sounds like
somewhere.
sounds like.
Because I'll tell you what, I was never around any, but
Yeah, that doesn't sound like me. Everything that's for sure. Walking down that street, I'd walk the other way, but that's okay. Much
yeah,
love,
but
Coldplay.
I mean, it's impressive the size of these things. So you could see how, similar or passing through bands, it's like boom, they're gonna snag some of the people got decisions, so it happens sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly. And that's part of the game. Is like you got to somehow get the fans to you over that stuff sometimes. Like like that's part of the fight that we fight with is like, okay, how do we compete with this other stuff? And that's where you just got to get better at music.
yeah,
Um,
boom, got the next tour coming at you, baby. So,
yeah,
brother,
yeah.
I this has been so awesome and just so great to just hear. And I love you coming on, just sharing tour stories, sharing what it's like, sharing the little tweaks about this thing that you guys, this living art that you bring to people and make people so happy with. And I mean, I couldn't be more happy than seeing you living your passion with it, brother.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's I love this life, man. It's amazing and getting to share it with you, especially because it's like I love coming back home and sharing these stories with family. It's like that's why part of the reason why I do it too is to go experience life and go share that with the tribe back home. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Well, I want to just kind of close it with something just saying like, give to anybody who may listen, like how much this means to you to be a part of this lifestyle that you're doing, from the way our parents brought us up to the things that you're doing. Let these fans get to know Nathan a little more and say like how much this means to you to be able to do this.
Oh, dude. Uh, I try and make sure I share that love with them when I see them. But yeah, to anybody that cares, it's like it's I'm blessed. I'm very fortunate, and I'm very grateful for this because nothing's ever touched my soul this way. Uh, and it's cool to be actually doing like what I'm supposed to be doing. Like when you feel that moment of like lock in, you're like, yeah, I there's nowhere else I'd rather be right now than on this stage doing this. Like this is it. So it's very special to me, and I appreciate all the love that I get for it, and uh, I appreciate the hard work being recognized at times, and I appreciate putting in the hard work. Like that's part of the fun too. Like just grinding it and learning and getting better. So the
Yeah.
whole thing to me is fun. Obviously you miss home, you miss people that you love. Uh, I'm grateful to have an amazing partner who holds it down for me when I'm gone. She takes care of the kid, the dog, the cat. Like she got her and still holds down her job. Like and doesn't sweat me at all. On the contrary, she comes out and supports me.
Yeah,
And I
I love that. That makes
I
me so
couldn't be more
happy
grateful.
knowing Danielle is just the best
She's
support.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
and you are for her, which is just, I mean, it's just family's everything, and I love that,
Yeah.
and it's great.
Yep. So if I treat this life that way, then everybody I meet's family. So come
Yeah,
on, let's get down, baby.
yeah. Let's rock it out.
Yeah.
Nathan Javier, my brother, this was absolutely zarpado.
That's fine. Thank you, Hagen. I love you, brother.
Love you too, man.